Well, hey guys, and welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. It's great to be with you. It is a wonderful Tuesday. This is April 7th, 2026, and welcome to the show. If you're coming here for the very first time, I want to take the opportunity to say welcome and thanks so much for choosing to stop by. I hope you'll come back again too. And if you're coming back many times, I want to say thank you and welcome back. It's always great to have people that enjoy the quality and content of my show. So, really do appreciate all that, guys. And we'll get started here in just a moment. If you've heard about me or not, don't forget to check out believemeachieve.com. That is after the show is over at believemeachieve.com. You can get short form content, long form content. You can get my articles, reels, and so much more. So definitely check that out. All right, guys, let's kick the show off, shall we? This is Inspirations for Your Life. As I said, it is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. And we're doing this thing which is all about to think bigger than the moment, which is where we are today. Think bigger than the actual moment. Oh, everyone, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, video producer, podcast host, coach, keynote speaker, graduate student, and a passionate lifelong learner. And soon, guys, to be a published author. That's going to be very soon. The master topic for the week on Inspirations for Your Life is how to rise into what's next in your life. So our granular topic fits that very, very well. So let me say something that might hit you hard. Are you ready, guys? Brace yourself. You're not overwhelmed because life is too much. Are you ready? You're overwhelmed because you're thinking too small for what you're facing. See, the moment you elevate your thinking, you don't just change how you feel, you change what's possible. Yes, I know. Put that in and try to sink your teeth into that for a little while. So let's move right into our first topic, which is number one, lift your view when you zoom out. So problems lose power and purpose gains clarity when you do this. But sometimes people get stuck in their ways and they don't do this for a host of many, many reasons. So let's stop making excuses and let's go ahead and start doing this. All right. Number two, guys, think beyond today's pressure. What feels urgent now is often irrelevant later. I know. It's like you worry about things, and 9 out of 10 of those things actually don't even come to pass, and they actually turn into a ditch before you actually get to them. Number three, guys, urgency is not destiny. Just because something feels intense does not mean it defines your future. I know it may sound like that because everything's closing in around you, but it's not. Number four, guys, higher thinking calms and lower fear. So elevation will replace the panic with perspective. And I said, guys, when we have perspective, our life will change around us. Our life will change around us. And I think that's a very important thing to understand is that perspectives become our reality. Okay. And our life is shaped from our perspectives. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Number five, look past the immediate mess. What you focus on determines what grows, what will flourish in your life. If you don't want something to grow, then take your attention away from that. What we attach to, we grow. What we detach to loses its energy and thus loses its ability to show up in your life. Number six, guys, your mindset sets your altitude. You will never rise above the level of your thinking. So start learning today that it's your mind that's creating a reality. Even if you're not getting that today, then you might say, John, it's not working. But it's actually working behind the scenes. It's just things don't show up on your timeline. Unfortunately, guys, that is the ultimate truth. So learn to change your thinking. Wherever we put our thoughts, that's where energy is going to flow. So just remember that and make that a new staple in your daily practice. All right, guys. Number seven, rise above small thinking. Limitation begins in the mind before it shows in life. So if we limit ourselves here, then we limit our body. And if we limit our body and our mind, we limit the potential possibility of our life. So let's realize that whatever we have up here can expand into our life. If we don't have it here, then we're blocking it from coming into our life. That's a very important thing that I want to show you. And I know you might say, John, but you don't understand my life. I don't care. It doesn't matter what your life is. The minute you change your thinking, okay, the minute you believe something is possible, let's take my book, for example, which is about to be released very, very soon. Actually, I believe it's not this Friday, guys. It's going to be next Friday. Wow, can't believe it's finally coming out. That thought of producing a book was only a thought. But then I took the inspired action and I did the work and I created the book, right? And that came because of my motivation, but because of my discipline that I wanted. Once I knew it was something I wanted, my discipline didn't stand in the way to make sure that I actually got it. Number 8, guys, bigger perspective creates better choices. A bigger perspective creates bigger choices. And better choices. So when you think of big, vast, right? You have better choices, and clarity produces a smarter action. Let's think about it like this. If you are a small fish and you're in a very small pond, your possibilities are limited. But if you're a small fish in a huge pond, well, that changes things, right? It changes the ability for that fish to grow into that potential. So if you are somebody that's looking at small opportunities, okay, but if you look at large opportunities, then those can actually become a reality. But it's how you believe. I think that's the most important thing. How you believe is how how it changes and how it works. But if you don't understand that, then I think that's a very important thing to understand. If you don't understand it, then you're gonna be saying to myself, "Oh my gosh, John, I don't quite get it. I don't know what that means." But it's something that you can definitely do in your life every single day of your life. All right, guys, let's move on to point number 9. Are you ready for point number 9? Okay. Point number 9 is a very interesting one. And The thing I want to tell you is that your perspective changes your reality. Okay. So start changing it today. Number 9 is temporary discomfort is not final truth. It's not the final outcome. Just because it hurts or it's a little discomforting, it's usually not painful. It's just a little bit uncomfortable, right? It doesn't be your end all, and it doesn't mean that it lasts. If you ever had your wisdom tooth pulled or a tooth pulled, and that feeling, that discomfort was with you for a few days to a week, but then it went away, and it wasn't a pain; it was just a discomfort. The best way I can describe it is if you ever burnt your mouth. I don't want you to do that, but if you ever did, it feels funny. It feels different inside, and that feeling is uncomfortable, but it's not painful. And so, where the uncomfort lies is where success starts to breed. I think that's important for us all to learn. Number 10, guys, stop shrinking to fit the moment. You were not built to stay small. Okay. You were not built to stay small. And I think that's a very important thing to acknowledge is that whole moment, right? Um, is stop shrinking to fit the moment. You were not built to stay small, and don't stay small. That's really, really important, guys. I mean, really important for you to understand. And if you understand that, then you'll start expanding. And the more that you expand, the more the things around you will expand. So when you get put into a small environment, you're limited. When you get put into a large environment, your capabilities grow. Number 11, guys, protect your mental horizon. What you allow into your mind shapes your direction. Okay. And that's a key point that a lot of people miss, how it shapes their direction. It might not be immediately, but it does happen. Number 12, guys, Choose perspective over panic. Control your thinking and you control your response. Learn to control your thinking because when we are controlled, we can make better decisions, better choices, and have a better outcome, and therefore lead more optimally to success. Number 13, guys, think from the future backward. Act like the version of you that already succeeded. I already have all the things I need, and I'm looking back from that point. And when we can see things as a repeat, it changes our entire life. It changes our entire perspective. All right. That's a real important one to think about because if we know this is possible, then we know that our life can change almost on a dime. Now, I'm not going to say that you're going to get the results overnight. I'm not going to say that to you. Definitely not going to say that to you. But what I am going to say to you is that if you are persistent, okay, what you persist will continue. All right. But if you give up too early, you could miss that opportunity. That's a real important one. So think backward as if you already have something, and then, you know, refer to that as already having it. Your body gets confused and doesn't know whether you have it or not, and therefore it expects it. Number 14, guys, live from principle, not pressure. Too many people I talk to, regardless of their age or their job title or function or role in life, they're all thinking from pressure because that's how corporate America has taught them. Corporate America has taught people that everything is about the dollar, but it's not about the value. It's not about the service. It's not about the product. It's about how much money we can squeeze out of people by eliciting the least amount of values and accountability as possible every time. I'm not saying everybody does this, but I'm saying that it's the way a lot of publicly traded companies operate today. And this is what's kind of hurting corporate America. When you think of companies like the ones I own, they're not large, you know, 10 million employee companies. But I like that because we're about value, we're about truth, we're about accountability. Where you go to a lot of these people and your concept gets lost in the wind, just being honest. Number 15, keep your eyes above the nose. Huh? What do you mean, John? I'm talking about distraction destroys direction. When you got a distraction, it's going to interrupt your progress. And then you're going to lose hope. You're going to lose the thought that the potential is even possible. When the potential is even more than possible, it's just that you have to believe in yourself. That's really key, guys. Number 16, vision makes the discomfort of the pain lighter. And it really does. Purpose changes how you experience the struggle that you are going through. What do I mean by that? Whether it's academics, whether it's sports, when you know why you're doing this or why you want to lose the weight or why you want to gain your degree, when you know the why, it makes the challenge that much more fun and more meaningful that you've got to achieve it. Number 17, think in decades, act today. Long-term thinking creates the short-term discipline. Let me say that again. Think in decades, act today. The long-term thinking will create the short-term discipline, which will last decades. But too many people are saying to me, John, well, I did this for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 7 days. I did it for 14 days, but I didn't see anything. Okay. So now I'm going to stop. Well, why are you going to stop? Well, because I'm not seeing anything. But you just started. You've only been doing this a month. You've only been doing this a week. You've only been doing this 3 days. The human mind and body gets very, how can I say, finicky with the fact that it has not seen an ROI or results. Do the act and keep doing it until it becomes a habit. When you forget that it's a habit and you keep doing it, that's when the results start to pay off. When you keep saying, oh my gosh, is it working yet? Is it working yet? Is it working yet? Is it working yet? Hasn't become a habit yet. When it's become a habit and you just do it and something pops like, oh, that good habit made a change for me. Number 18, elevation changes your interpretation. What once looked like failure becomes feedback. Feedback allows us to change the courses that we take and change the direction. Feedback from a GPS, we're going the wrong way. Please make a legal U-turn as soon as possible. Or rerouting at the next traffic light, make a right. Then make the left onto Mountain Street. You get the idea. So it gets you back on track. I think sometimes when we don't have a definitive way to get back on track, we're lost. And the difference between being lost, knowing you're lost, and getting a way back is a big difference. So if you're lost and you don't know how to get information, how to get back, you may stay lost for a very long time. There's another kind of loss where you think you know where you're going, but you're actually lost and you get more lost by the moment. When you know you're lost and you have a plan to get back on track, that's when success happens. Right? Number 19, do not let the low moment define the whole story in your life. Let me say that again. Do not let the low moment or moments define the whole story in your life, because they are not. They are nearly a chapter. That one chapter is not your ending. It is one part of your life. One chapter. Somebody has a bad chapter and they're like, oh, I'm done with life. When you hopefully read my book later on, you're going to see the challenges I went through and how these challenges for me were not just things I had to do, but things that really resonated with me, and they caused me to change my entire trajectory of where I was going, or I would not be where I am today. That's the important thing. You know, I didn't have a podcast or several podcast shows 14 years ago. Didn't have it. I had a little tiny radio show. Very tiny. And one of the challenges I didn't talk about in my book, I had somebody actually pay money for my spot. And when the station found that my spot was worth so much money, they took me off the air. I'd never work with that station again. And their attitude was, John, you're too good to not catch on. You'll do great. And they were right. But hitting me below the belt, that wasn't the way you build a bridge. It's the way you break one. A wise person once said to me, John, you may not know how to build the bridge in life. And that's okay. Let the bridge be built for you. When it happens, proudly and gratefully walk across that bridge. That's what our subconscious will do. When we put the idea in our subconscious, the bridge and the circumstances will come into the exact alignment for us to walk across that bridge with that element of gratitude, humbleness, and being proud. Number 20, guys, learn to train your mind upward. Growth is not automatic. It is intentional. So growth doesn't happen because you just want it. Growth has to happen because you have said, this aligns with my core values. Now, maybe you haven't said those words directly, but that's why your growth happens. It's because it aligns with your core values. Those are the things that you hold so near and dear to your heart, that you live your life for. They're what gives your why its loudness. And when I need loudness, I don't mean being loud. I mean giving it the value, giving it you the motivation, giving you the nudges that, hey, I got to stick with this. When I had my broken tib and fib, it wasn't an easy time. I'm not going to reveal the whole thing here, but, being able to do that day in and day out And it was only a few months of discomfort. And also, I talked about how I felt, how others felt, and how that whole thing changed my life. You're definitely going to want to read that book. Number 21, wider perspective reduces fear. Clarity replaces anxiety. It does, guys. Clarity will replace anxiety time in and time out. But too many people don't sit around to get clarity. They're like, oh, it doesn't make sense, so we're just going to stop. Stop what? Well, I don't understand, so we're just going to stop. So because you don't understand something, you're going to give up? Well, I'm not giving up. I'm stopping. Well, let me lighten you up here. If you stop with no intention of going back, you've quit it. And I know we're not quitters here, but I know the circumstances might drive us to quit. So we might need to take a pause in our life, we might need to step back, but don't you dare quit. I'm telling you right now, because there's so much out there for you to have if you just believe. Number 22, guys, set your attention where growth lives. What you focus on expands. What you focus on expands. Just like the concept of, our thoughts create our reality. What we focus on, the thoughts, okay, that we focus on, whatever we focus on, that's where the energy flows to, right? There's always going to be people in your life, they're going to be like, oh, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But you need to stay on your course. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's snowing. You get my point. I don't care what excuse gets thrown your way. I don't care if you break a leg. I don't care if you get injured in other ways. I don't care if you have a cold or what it is that you have. That is a minor setback, an excuse to not allowing you to go forward. I did all these things while I had my broken tib and fib. Okay. I didn't allow that tib and fib to get in the way of what I wanted to get done in life. It was a little bit harder. It was more challenging. People thought I was nuts. But guys, I persevered. I got through it. And it changed my life. Did I know that 12, 14 years later, I was going to write a book about me breaking my tib and fib and how that whole experience changed my life? No. I didn't know. I knew that when I broke the tib and fib, I just know, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? And that first moment was, now what happens to my life? Like that happened, but then within 24 hours, I snapped out of that moment because we all like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Again, I'm not telling you the whole book, but I changed. First, it seemed like a subtle shift. And then it was like a big light went on. And I just kept moving toward the bigger light. And that bigger light actually helped me change my trajectory. Number 23, guys, refuse the gravity of negativity. I know negativity is heavy and it can weigh you down. You're not required to stay low. No. Negative people and situations and circumstances, they're everywhere. So we have to be filters. We have to block those things. We have to keep those things that are draining our energy away. Like I talked before about people, good people that you're around, you feel like your energy is kind of recharged. Those are the people you want to be with. And usually they will find that you charge them as well. But if you're around somebody and they're taking your energy, they might be the nice people in the world, but they're draining your energy. It's actually taking your cup. So you can't be full. So you can't have the success you want because your cup's never full. And if your cup is never full, you can never help yourself. And if you can't help yourself, you cannot even begin to want to help other people. Even if you want to, you won't have the strength or the energy. Number 24, high standards require high thinking. You cannot build big with small beliefs, right? Let's take Disney for a moment, right? Disney could not build big on its beliefs if it didn't believe that it could. That's a very important one, guys. Very important one. Very important one. Number 25, mental elevation creates emotional stability and it creates this inner sense of calmness. So, why wouldn't we want to elevate ourselves up to the highest level, to the highest standard? Number 26, guys, choose what lasts. Temporary wins do not build permanent success. They don't. They usually wind up taking things from you, and they don't allow you to grow. Number 27, let meaning outrank the mood all the time. Discipline beats emotion every single time. Thought leadership starts inside the mind and body. Before you lead others, you must lead your own thinking first. Like I said, you've got to have that cup for yourself full. If you don't, you can never begin to help others. That's important, guys. You lead others, you must lead your own thinking first. Number 29, see from above, not below. Distance creates power and clarity. It creates power and it creates clarity. So by us being removed from a situation, we're able to get a different perspective on something. And when something happens like that, usually we will get a retuning to be clear on the objective. Think higher than the moment, guys. Your future depends on your perspective, and you create it every single day. If this spoke to you guys, here is your next move. Stop reacting to what is happening right now. Start thinking about what you are going to do. Because the truth is, you do not rise by fixing every problem. You rise by outgrowing the level of thinking that created them. The moment you think bigger than the moment you are in, you take back your power. You gain clarity, you regain control, and you stop into this new way and become a version of yourself that is no longer limited by what is in front of you. You're not stuck. You're just thinking too small for where you are meant to go. For more insights, inspirations, and strategies to elevate your life, visit BelieveMeAchieve.com, guys, and start becoming the you that you've always wanted to be. Take care, everyone.